Welcome back to DevTalks, where we talk about engineering and technology, everything to do with it. Well, I really want to start off by saying thank you for the continued support to everybody who listens in week by week as we go through this. I'm really trying my hardest to get everything out and in time. This episode is really special. Once again, we have guests on. We have some of my closest friends that I graduated university with that also took the same major and went through the engineering degree. So we're going to talk about all the ups and downs and our experiences through that and how we got kind of went through that whole process. But let me know how you liked the episode. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. And let's get right into it. And we're back. And as I said, this episode and stuff, as we're getting into it, that I'm gonna have two special guests, being my friends that I've graduated with and gone through school with and stuff. So I'm gonna let them two introduce themselves real quick, and then we're gonna get right into it.
Okay, I guess I'll go first. Hey, I'm Renan Galamosa. I just started working at Capital One as a software engineer. Graduated from UD in a couple months ago in December. Kind of working as a big data engineer right now. And anything else you want me to say?
Nah, that's about it. That's about okay. Good. That's about good.
Hello, I'm Cameron Thacker. I'm currently doing freelance work at the moment until I do grad school in the fall. I live in Newark. I kind of do stuff all over the place. Right now I'm like a full stack engineer. I've recently started diving into ML in my free time because I can kind of make my own hours as I see fit. So yeah, that's kind of introduction to me.
All right, so once again, thank you guys for being here and stuff. But as I told you guys before, we're gonna be just basically going over how it really felt like going through our whole schooling and that whole engineering degree process and things like that, especially as computer scientists. And also, we could just start with, have you guys ever felt pressure going through this degree program, especially going to UD and stuff? And then if so, how? And then we can all go around and talk about that.
You want to go first, Cameron?
Yeah, sure. So in generally, in the program at UD, I haven't really felt pressured in any negative ways. If that kind of makes sense. I've only felt pressured in positive ways, such as stuff to kind of push me to that next level, with the classes and whatnot, with the classwork, because the staff at UD has been very amazing in my experience. They haven't really done anything negative I can remember, and yeah, I haven't really felt any negative pressure at UD. I've generally felt good pressure so far.
It's kind of funny talking about pressure right now, because I've been really thinking about doing my master's at Drexel, because I'm really close to I live skip and walk away from there.
Yeah.
And it's just I keep hearing from people that oh yeah, Drexel really prepares you, and if you can get through the program in Drexel, you can do anything. And I'm sure that's true. I'm sure it's pretty rigorous. It's just funny because all of us went to UD, and
yeah.
I mean I have pretty much the same impression as what Cameron said, where it's I never really felt a crazy amount of pressure. I'm not trying to say UD is crazy easy. I mean it's still they still take it very seriously, but I don't know, it felt very comfortable. I feel
yeah.
So what I would say is, maybe it wasn't exactly the actual course load and stuff, well, at times, but in my experience, right, because I started off in a separate program and then I had to play catch up after being in school for 2 years. And I would say the biggest thing that would be pressure would be trying to graduate sooner, especially with that extra course load and having to take more classes at certain points of times in the semester. And like, yeah, doing that whole catch up process definitely made it way harder as far as like how it can be pressured. Because when I first switched over, they were saying I probably wouldn't graduate for another year or two, and like I wasn't having that at all.
I
Yeah,
think that's actually like a really funny thing that you like the bring up, where it's just like all three of us, none of us graduated within the strict 4 years that
Yeah,
everyone like
yeah,
memes like, and I forgot what the statistic is, but it's definitely more than half like don't graduate of like of all undergraduates don't they don't graduate in 4 years. I don't have a source for that. I read it somewhere. I need to
I
get a
mean,
citation later, but like it's reasonable to think about, right? I mean, like because I think we all have different like reasons for like why were we didn't graduate in 4 years, but like I agree. It's like the I feel like the only pressure I really felt was because of that, and like wanting to like graduate as soon as possible, and not specifically because UD or the curriculum or anything was like really grinding my gears, I suppose. It was making
yeah,
me
yeah,
really struggle.
yeah. I would say sort of like the time part, at least in my opinions, sort of like sort of like an illusion when it comes to computer science because when people are looking at you, they don't really care about how old you are. They just care about your skill set and how well you are. So I would say, in retrospect, it's definitely worth more to take the time on the subject and kind of make sure you really cement the knowledge in there, rather than try to like get in and get out really quickly.
The pressure should
Um,
be all on you.
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it should depend on what you can handle and what you can't handle.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but like the idea of like just focusing on completing it in X years is sort of like sort of like going against you. Like you shouldn't worry about the time. You should worry about, am I actually like learning this stuff? Am I actually understanding it? Like do I have a good skill set at the end? Rather than, oh, it's taken me 5 years, like I have to get out of here. You should be like, well, I should make sure I know what I'm doing no matter how long it takes. Obviously within reason, but it shouldn't be like a rush or anything
Yeah,
like that.
within reason, because the
Yeah.
spooky thing is money.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
That's the funny green stuff in your wallet,
yeah.
if that.
Yeah. There's always outside influences, but making sure you understand it should come first and foremost.
so
Definitely.
another thing
Mm,
that I would kind of want to challenge with that is,
mm.
especially nowadays, I've seen that people aren't going directly through like colleges and universities to get their computer science degrees or engineering degrees. That there are also people who in our industry take like classes that
Yeah,
aren't as long and they're getting in a lot quicker and stuff. So I can also see that as people getting those certificates and things. I have been told by one of my managers they do prefer people who go through university because they know that they're being taught more skill sets and stuff and going
yep,
through like more of a program over someone who just took a certificate. I have been told that by somebody who does like look at applications and stuff, but it is still possible for people to go through these certificate programs and they're a lot quicker. And everybody is a large amount of people who are pressed on the actual money portion versus
yeah,
who
yeah,
actually enjoy this and that's what they actually like wanted to do and things like that. So
yeah. I mean, I'm aware there's a money part to it. I was blessed enough to not have to worry about that, but there is a money part to it, and I'm perfectly down for like the certificates and stuff, just as long as like I can't stress it enough, just to make sure like it's it's not like a race. Like you should make sure you go through it properly and come out on the other end knowing what's going on.
I think a lot of things with like with boot camps. We're talking about boot camps, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah. Like those can seem a little bit rushed.
Yeah.
Which is
Yes.
one thing, but I think one of the other sides about that is that it kind of encourages you to take it seriously, and it's probably I'm sure part of it also has to do with the fact that it's like kind of spooks away the people who like are kind of like flippant about it. You know what I mean? You have to put this amount of money in, and it's like you have this amount of time, so you gotta take it seriously. You know what I mean? Um, and like, but like I think for a lot of people that's a good thing, and for a lot of people like you kind of need that. You kind of just need to have that type of like at bare minimum you need to go to like a boot camp at least because like not everyone's gonna obviously just
Yeah.
get another bachelor's or something or do their master's. Like boot camp is usually like the more financial and like time efficient option for a lot of people. But it's good.
And
It's good to have a
yeah.
curriculum of some fashion. Like relying solely on yourself to do it is like it's tough. It
Yeah.
can be done, but it's just tough. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And like some of the boot camps are really nice. Like some of them are like highly specialized. That's the thing I like about boot camps too is some of them you just go for exactly what you want versus if you go to a college you have to take all this other surrounding work. Not that that's a bad thing, but some people just want to cut right to the chase
Well, some people don't
and
want to
just
take English 101 the
yeah.
same way.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Sorry.
saying?
Well,
Yeah.
another thing like that also plays off to like how both of you guys are going for grad schools, right? And
Mhm.
I put thought into grad school as well too because I try to keep my GPA up just in case I wanted to go into
Mhm.
grad school. But I know everybody does stuff for different reasons. But I was thinking more or less just probably if I needed to get more training on like a certain aspect and stuff, especially I already know what things are like in the field that I work in with like data and stuff like that. I already know what technologies we're using and what's gonna grow and things like that. So in my case, if I'm getting more training and stuff, it's gonna be something a certificate or something off of like Google platform um, and GCP or things like that that I use in the day to day of my work and things like that to get extra training or build my skill sets on that rather than going back to get my master's because I know you guys have your reasons why and stuff, but that's where like I'm personally sitting now.
I mean, I agree with that completely because it's like if in my impression, I mean, we're all it's a call of 320-something-year-olds, so I mean, take it with a grain of salt here, but like it's my impression is that if you're just trying to learn new things or like get into like a different area of work or something, trying to switch focus or just trying to like to move up a little bit, you don't really need like a master's like in the same way where it's just like if you're doing I don't know, like electrical engineering or something like that, like trying to specialize because you can the information is all out there. You can teach yourself or your job will be like offer you courses and things like that, and then you can just like you know get like positions like in house and stuff like that in your company. Like it's not. I just don't think a master's is like necessary for that. Me and Cameron is just more like we just or just like lunatics. We just like school. like if like I don't see like a specific reason other than like to me the exception is like if you're trying to do like heavy ML, in which case I mean like taking master's level mathematics courses and stuff like that is extremely useful. And then I mean usually if you're getting into that space you're also like it's not usually just ML, you're doing it in a different domain space, like like bioinformatics, health informatics, or I don't know, doing ML and like finance or something, and you need like additional domain knowledge that I guess maybe you didn't get at work or you just want some like actual college level class about it. And like and then like that makes more sense. But like for most things that are like more so like related to like the software engineering space, I don't think you need to go to graduate school. you don't. It's just if you want to and you like learning that stuff. That's just my impression.
Yeah, and you do learn a lot of the skills in undergrad, as far as because of all the different mixtures of classes they give you, especially if you're going for a BS degree, and they throw more of it down your throat. So undergrad does prepare you well and stuff, but also going back to like our pressuring question and stuff. I know you guys, especially through the curriculum and stuff, didn't feel pressure in any negative ways or so. But would you say you've seen other people in the program like go witness or experience a negative pressure in a sense?
Oh man.
And no names or anything, but like
I want to say we need to pick a fake name here.
or anything, but
I'll use
like,
Bob.
I mean, okay, so
yeah, we don't have to use a name, but I'm like, sorry. Continue your thought first.
But that's pretty much it. Like, have you experienced, like, witnessed it and stuff, and then like compare it to like how you guys, when you were struggling with stuff, how would you go about like situations like that some people may find themselves in similarly?
You take it, Cameron. I talked a lot on the previous one.
I'm trying to think of an answer here. So if you have one, you can go ahead. So.
I mean, the question is like what we've seen, right? Of like how other people have like struggled in the course. I mean, okay, this is okay. This is like no one specific here because this is actually like very general. This is actually like true for like a lot of people. Are like data structures, course. That and the intro to software engineering one. Those two. Those are like, what do we call filter classes? Those are like filter classes. So short tangent on when I used to be from in med, like the intro, like chemistry and like bio and stuff, like those were like pretty harsh. Like we're trying to weed out the people who aren't serious kind of classes. And that's kind of what like data structures and this intro to software engineering. The data structures, I mean, for everyone, like, you know, like listening in. I mean, you've probably taken a data structure class at some point. They can be very tough to like navigate around, like just thinking about them, and that's the whole point. Like they're complex data structures, trying to really understand them, implement them, like use them, and then the software engineering one was like our big like leap into working on an extended project with a group and like actually like doing like the like agile workflow, like working in like a real industry team. Those ones are really tough, and you see a lot of people struggle with them a lot. For two different reasons, of course. I mean, like two different classes, but like to me, those are the big filter classes. I mean, do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yeah. I agree with that. Since you're bringing up like the filter classes as well, I would say like 220 is more of like very kind of like easy medium kind of amount of work required. Like you need to add in a few functions here and there, but it's more just the topics that kind of weed them out. Because it gets into the technical part.
It's not all. I just realized like they're actually both kind of related because you're right, you're correct, but both of them kind of just like leave you on your own. That's what our two professors in like those two classes kind of like. Well, that's the big issue, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would say 275 definitely completely on your own. 275, like 90% of the stuff you have to self-teach yourself. 220 has the luxury of there are a few slides here and there. Well, this is coming from my experience because I was in the experimental class for 275, and I had like zero slides,
Yeah, I think I
and
was in that same
and
class.
and the teacher would just show live code, and that was it. Just live code for 10 minutes, and then we'd have to go and do our projects.
For everyone listening,
220,
275 is the intro to engineering,
yeah,
220 is data
Yeah,
structure. So that's just to
yeah.
reiterate that again. Sorry,
yeah,
continue.
yeah, and then 220, like the teacher like provides resources at least for you to like reference.
Mhm.
Um, and you have some like maybe minimal, like some sort of structure to support you. Like there's office hours, of course, in most of the classes, in every class, for example. And but there are slides. There are at least slides, and the teacher's good. So it's like it is a weeding out class. I'm not gonna deny it's not a weeding out class, but it's definitely 275 is like the major one where you're on your own. 275 is just you're on your own, you're in a group, you have to come up with something. You like you have to come up with a way to create a project with the group. That's like the first time. For 220, you can just roll on your own if you want. Um and just try to survive like how I did. Um but those are two like informational challenging classes. Um but there's another weed out class which would be 181, which I was going to specify is not informationally challenging. The only challenge it is it's just a shit ton of work. That's all it is it's like a shit ton of
That's,
very
Let's see.
a very verbose work. Like it's just the same problem over and over and over again.
I think
I
And
still
everyone's
feel
object.
I still feel that for that specific class, it depends on who you get as a teacher. When you say weeding out for 181, because I feel a lot of people, especially when I took 181 in the year or two after, they were able to. A lot of people did get through that class
I
through
mean,
one
yeah,
way
I
or
mean,
another and stuff. But as soon as you pass that like data structures class and like the intro to software engineer, though, once when you pass that threshold, then you like get into like the real serious classes where it's you have to put a lot of hours and time in each class personally.
Just to say again, 181 is our second. So we have the Introduction to Computer Science 1, that's Python, and then Introduction to Computer Science 2
This
is
Java.
Java. That's where they go heavy on the object oriented programming stuff. And you're right. I mean, it is pretty okay. It,
I
it's
mean,
it's heavy on the
yeah.
info dump, but it's kind of like it's kind of lenient. I think the grading is kind of lenient, but you could okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like the thing is I've helped not one, not two, but three classes of 181. I helped three different classes. I helped one of my friends in 181. I helped a friend of their friend in 181. I helped a friend of their friend of their friend in 181. So I've seen it all. I've seen all the rubrics, all the different teaching styles. Surprisingly, the 181 that I'm referencing, um, like there's a few different teachers that teach it, and the amount of work I've seen is almost equal. It's equal,
I guess
but it's
that's
in
fair.
but it's in a different way. It's in a different way. The 181 I'm referencing was just the same exact problem over and over again. The 181 that I experienced or helped people with was different problems, but like 20 of them. Like 20 of them every worksheet. There was like 20 problems you had to do, and they were a little bit more involved, but it was the same subject. It was just like a lot of problems that you'll get quickly, but it's just like a lot. It's just a lot.
The thing is,
And
I don't think that like you if you haven't been taking it seriously, I don't think it'll catch up. So when I think of a filter class, I mean like if you aren't like really ready to take this seriously, then it's gonna catch up with you. And like it is kind of true for 181, but I wouldn't consider it just yet
Yeah, no,
because
not at all.
it's kind of easy to squeeze through because like the my programming lab, the massive, just like quick short coding questions you have to do as homework. Like, it provides a big buffer, and then the labs are, one, they're graded leniently, and two, you can get carried in them.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair though, it is possible to squeeze through 181, 210, and 220 as well. I'm just gonna say it. It is possible.
Yeah, I mean,
It is
okay.
possible. It's possible to squeeze through some of them, some of the weeding out classes. But 181's more of like if you actually want to take it seriously, then you're gonna have to put in the work. That's more of the idea
I also
behind it.
think with 181, like you brought up my programming lab, that was one of the best like learning experiences that I was got off. Well, so when we took 181, I didn't know Brennan yet or Cameron. I didn't know either one of you yet, but I believe one of you were in my class back then or so. But we were online, and my programming lab was like the best tool because it came with the notebook for all the extra information and things like that, like the textbook, and that was one of the best interactive textbooks that I think we had, especially being stuck at home, and it was a lot easier to get through it in that like environment too.
Yeah,
Because you had so much time to just review over the stuff and make the like note sheets and stuff like that based off the text.
Yeah. But I see what you're saying though. The weeding out for more of the major part is definitely 220, 275. I wouldn't really consider 181 a major weeding out class. I would consider it more of just like a shit ton of work. I don't even know if I would consider it a weeding out class now that you've like gone over it like that.
Yeah, so, but you hear Trey's super positive experience, and I can't in good faith call it a weeding out class.
No, yeah, because listen, I've taken a lot of different classes on like, especially like you guys know that that graphic design class that I took, and it was nothing like I thought it was going to be like, and stuff like that. And then you also have. It's not operating systems.
Yeah. But I would call it more of a pseudo weeding out. It's not there yet.
I think it's just the bridge of going into the weeds. It's the bridge going into the weeds and stuff like that.
It's not there yet.
You're just starting to go off trail. There's like some bushes. There's no weeds yet. You know.
So before we get way too off topic and stuff, how would you say these classes are like actually bring the weeding out certain students and stuff like that? Like, how would you say those classes are weeding them out, and then what would those students who are really struggling have to do to like get through them? Because as I said, like, we know of a lot of people who have struggled through those classes, some more than others and things like that.
Well, because as the old adage goes, if you F around, you find out.
Shut up. Okay. Shut up, first of all. No, like to me, the biggest setup for failure is really just giving the students autonomy. As in literally just letting them be, like giving them a project and just leaving them be to do it, which I think it's important that they do it. But answering your question is how do people really get filtered? I mean, it's that you put them on their own and they aren't like taking the time to.
Yeah, so that's like where I really wanted to get into, because I remember once when we were able to get back from campus through COVID and stuff, and we can go into the libraries and things like that, we spent probably more time in the library than we did in our actual classes. Is that fair enough to say?
Yes.
And
way more. First of all, I lived there. I ate like breakfast and dinner there.
We literally napped there, ate there, like everything. Like we had all the boards full and stuff. So what I would say, these students who are really getting like weeded out of these classes and stuff is they really have to find their group through, like, of course somebody can like survive all the classes and curriculum probably just by themselves and things like that, but like of course in college you're going to make a lot more friends, you're going to like be able to build off a lot of different people, learn things from different people and stuff. And I think it'd just be best if like you found that group and you guys really like took that stuff seriously and stuff, because like when we took the ML class, like that was our first like experience all together, and I think it went a lot better because of all of us in that class together and all the work that we put in together off of that, because we were able to, and I think it put us ahead too when we were all like in the library spending all that time working through the homeworks and how to solve different problems for that and review.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like having like people to bounce ideas off of and people to like like check yourself with is like super useful. Like related anecdote, like I got a friend like she was gonna go to like start like finishing up her bachelor's because she took a break during COVID, and then she was like trying to like look for places, and then um she eventually settled on this doing online classes at I forget where, but the point is that like it was like a decision between like online versus like uh a little bit more inconvenient like in person, you know, because you have to like go there, you can't just like boot up your laptop. But the big thing I was like saying there was that like I don't personally recommend going the online route because it's a lot harder to make friends. Like you gotta force yourself to do it. Like you gotta be on that. You gotta make some friends, or else you're just gonna be doomed. It's like what happens? What happens when you don't understand like Miss Gulager's or whatever the hell, like on like the history of like dogs or something, and it's just like I don't know what's happening anymore. And then it's
Yeah.
like who you gonna talk to? You go into the bathroom, look at the mirror, and talk to yourself. Like what's gonna happen? Like you're doomed. Like you need to have people like to talk to, and for exactly the reason you were like talking about. It's really it, one. It's just it you just get to have like more information talking to people, like bounce along with ideas, being exposed to new perspective, etc. And two, it's very motivating because you're like part of a group who's like in it together.
Okay, so here's another thing. Because one, the next topic is really like one, like every, and I wouldn't say engineering or like computer science or things like that probably isn't for
Mhm.
everyone, just like how medicine or being a lawyer isn't for everyone, things like that. So
Mhm.
when you're struggling to a certain point or anything, would you guys ever like suggest somebody to just change their major at a point, or when would that be, or say, or just stick like through it because they already chose to that this is what they want to do, especially like when they're struggling
Mm.
more on these filtering out classes and things like that. What is your takes on that?
Um, I guess my take would be, like in my opinion, like from an outside perspective, like that, like separating myself from, obviously I'm an engineer, so I'm gonna be biased. So like, separating myself from that, I'm gonna say like applying pressure should like never reach a point where it is a burden. Like I always stress to be an outside influence, and never like directly influence what they do. But sort of like provide a path, like if they want to go for it, like if they want to continue, they can continue. And it's sort of like when you're using maps to travel, and it like and it finds a shorter route and it like suggests it. Um, you don't you don't like have to accept it, but like sometimes when it appears, you take the shorter route. And that has no relation at all to like the path doesn't mean anything at all. It's just like what it is. And it's not like applying direct pressure. Like you can turn down the shorter path if you want. But it's it's there because and it is still applying some pressure because it's like on your screen, but you have the option to choose yes or no with it. So that's more of my stance on it.
And right now, I know you changed majors too. So, like, how do you feel,
Oh yeah,
especially
we can
based
talk.
on your experiences and like why you did that? Because I feel like you have to have like a good reason and stuff for it. But I want you to first say yours first.
Yeah, so the frame I'm about to say, I mean, my normal philosophy is that like, um, you don't want to you don't want to change something because you don't think you can do it. You should change something because you don't want to do it. That is normally what I go with. Um, for context, I was in medicine for like 3 years up until like halfway into my junior year, and then finally, it was like when the pandemic hit. I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna learn programming. I tried it, I loved it, and I was like, all right, I'm 2.5 years in, but I'm not having a. I'm good at medicine. Like I did well, but I was not enjoying it. So I was just like, all right, try a new thing. Oh, I like the new thing. All right, fine. We're just gonna let go of medicine, and you know that's when I was just like, all right, I'll switch. Like in terms of like if you're like really struggling in the subject, you have to like honestly like ask yourself like, is it really the subject, or is it something that like you're doing wrong? Like, is it your study habits? Are you not taking it seriously? Is there some other outside factor that's affecting you mentally? You know what I mean? Or do you have too much stuff on your plate that isn't, you know, your your work, like what you're trying to learn, etc. It's like to me, it's almost always going to be one of those things, as opposed to like I am just predisposed to being allergic to computer science. Like I don't think that's normally the case. Um, you know, but still, like what Cameron was saying, like you shouldn't have to um like specifically just like force yourself to the point of like it
Of
overtaking
choosing a
your
new
life.
degree, yeah.
Yeah, you should want to do it. You know what I mean? It should be enjoyable working for it. You know what I mean? You know,
So even if you're struggling, don't quit. If you're really enjoying it, loving it, you just have to like really evaluate.
I think it's more of sometimes you gotta evaluate, like what Brandon said, your study habits. Like a lot of people are different learners.
Yeah,
Um,
there's a way around it always.
yeah.
hmm yeah. There's always like I need to learn by doing. I can't. Some people are like good just like reading a book or something. Like, you know, I no, I can't do that. It would that was like the worst part of like med, or it's just like so much of it is just, here's a textbook, now eat it, type of deal.
Yeah.
I did it just because like, you
But
know,
you don't have a medical lab at your house?
huh? No. Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me like if I actually ate the textbook, and I was gonna respond with, yeah, I put like Worcestershire like sauce or something.
I
Anyway,
always hated textbooks. But yeah, go.
wait, it is actually so funny that you said that, Karen, because I actually, when I was like in the earlier years, I was considering just buying a microscope for myself. That's a fun fact. Like you'd have a
Just a
medical.
single microscope?
Yeah, I was just like, this will probably be interesting. I don't know. I was
And then he ended up with a PC.
dude, it was a struggle. I needed something. I needed something that wasn't just reading a textbook, dude. I was struggling super. I didn't buy it, obviously, or else I would have shown you guys. But
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like everybody needs to know like what works best for them and things like that, because you won't be able to make it out unless you know uh, what exactly that is and stuff. And the next thing that we both are, all of us have probably a different insight in, is a BA degree versus BS, meaning like a Bachelor of
oh,
Arts versus Bachelor of Science degrees. Cameron, we know like you did the BA and stuff, and then me and
Yeah.
Brennan did a BS. So
yeah, kick him from the
what is
call.
your, so I'm gonna first go off on my take on the difference between them. So Me personally, I evaluated, like, I could have just ended off with a BA and graduated early. Same thing with Cameron, and I'm sure Brennan too, and stuff. But I, when I was talking to my mentor or whoever that person was and stuff, they told me like the difference was basically you have to take a lot more technical classes in engineering and stuff. And at my internship at the time, they were waiting for me to graduate, but I also felt like there's just more stuff in school that like I haven't had the chance to go over. And I'm actually glad I did BS because you go over a lot more stuff that, like as I said, technical things that I was missing and stuff, especially with the limited time that I had. Those classes were actually quite helpful and things. So I switched to a BS for that to be able to like learn more off of that to prepare me better and things like that because I didn't feel like I was completely ready to just dive in and stuff. But I'm sure what it was. I can guess why Cameron stayed with a BA and stuff, especially how nice you are, especially with coding and programming and stuff. But how would you say why you stayed there?
I would say the main difference is BA is more of like a freedom path, and that's not downplaying what BS is at all. And like BS is more of like a structured path. Like BA, you have a lot of freedom to take whatever classes you want to take, and you'll get there in a reasonable time. But BS is like the same time, but it's more structured. It's more structured. It's like you take these X classes and these X classes and this path and that path to get to it. But BA is more just like take whatever the hell you want. Just make sure you get this X credits or whatever the hell it was. But that's kind of my take on it, like the separation between the two. Um, yeah, that's definitely where I stand on it.
Mm-hmm.
One isn't. I mean, obviously the technical is going to be worth more than the technical degree in computer science, but like in my opinion, the learning aspect besides the name of it, the learning aspect is just structured versus unstructured. That's really what it comes down to, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, before I even like go on, so would you? So wait, Trey, would you say it's like the structured path of the BS was to your benefit more than if you had like all the freedom of a BA?
I would say so to a point because and from especially where like the course load that I was taking and stuff, a BA definitely would have been lighter and stuff, and maybe I could have pulled more out of my classes individually if I just did a BA and stuff and like be more particular with it. But I think the more structured and BS path was better due to like it kind of forced me into those other classes that I didn't have any idea about, and I was able to learn different kind of skill sets and things based off of it. Versus in a BA, I felt like that probably would have subconsciously like tricked me into like just trying to graduate sooner or whatever.
Y-
Versus that because in the BS you also get to choose your concentration and stuff. In the BA, you don't have a concentration classes and things like that. You're really there's a lot of different focuses that you can build off of that. So I feel like I can also choose that. And like my concentration was my freedom part,
Mm-hmm.
and give or take. But yeah,
Yeah, I needed to hear that to like validate what I'm about to say, because I kind of figured as much. Because like when I had to make a decision, like what I was gonna switch into from med, um, like the freedom Cameron was talking about, that would have been objectively better for for graduating, but I felt like I needed the stricter path to like feel like I know what I'm doing. Because
yeah, same here.
because like I didn't know like anything about code like 2 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's been a very busy 2 years, but like that's kind of like how it was. So it's like I kind of wanted that like structured path. I mean, there's also a benefit where it's just like the concentrations you were saying. I mean, I took the bioinformatics path, it let me use a lot of my med credits for that, which was just a nice little bonus. But like I felt like more like, okay, this is what I have to do. I know this is for this concentration. I know like these will like all be related and like help me in some way. I don't have to guess. I don't have to pick anything. And it's just like, okay, this is fine. I can just focus on checking off the check boxes and then graduate whenever I do. But I mean, objectively speaking, though, I mean, if I just wanted to graduate, yeah, I mean, like the freedom to just pick whatever the hell in like the BA, yeah, that would have been good too. But too late for that.
Yeah. Lastly, I guess what I'm kind of get into is basically what would you guys say your favorite part of engineering is, and or your whole computer science degree process and stuff like that.
What is your favorite part?
The struggle, actually, like the
Oh, hell
difficulty
yeah.
for it and things. So, well, for one, like growing up, like I always had a feeling in some way or another I was gonna end up where I was at, whether it was either designing games or like as I talked about in one of my other podcast episodes, or like just being a software engineer or doing something with like computers and stuff. I knew that I knew that in some way or another I would be there. But another thing I noticed is I will, if something's like too easy, I just my attention span or my care for it really goes down, and this is like actually challenging and stuff. And I don't remember the last day, whether it's at work or in school, that I didn't learn something and or have something that was able to make me get stuck or things like that. So that was really like my whole favorite thing about it, because it not being easy yet, yeah, certain things like get easier once when like you've learned it and like you get better at it and stuff. There's still a lot that like I know that I have to work on and things, and just going through that is what makes me enjoy it more.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Like, that's one of the things I appreciate like more than like than med. I'm like bashing med a lot. I like medicine. I have to make it clear. I don't like magically hate medicine now. I still like the topics. And I still like reading about stuff. But like in terms of like it being like an actual job, it's just like the problem solving with it is a lot more exciting and well, I guess it's also a lot more natural just because I get to like iteratively, try something, test it, see that I messed up or whatever, fix it again. It's like it's frustrating but also fun. It's like a good kind of frustrating. And like I've always respected the fact that it's something that you can always like teach yourself something new to like solve your issue or something. Like Google search, figure something out, come back to it, try it, bada bing, bada boom. You don't see the self-taught surgeon in Johns Hopkins Hospital. You need that isn't something
Yeah.
you see. So it's I respect the fact that it's like this is just something you can just do yourself. Like if the person really wants to, they can do it, and that's the end of the story. It's just I like that.
Yeah,
It's a
I
really
believe
cool
it's even
aspect.
easier like if you actually enjoy it, like what it
Yes.
is and stuff. Like if you actually enjoy that stuff, then like it just makes it way better for you and stuff. But Cameron.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree. I like the science part of it. I like the creativity part of it, how you can really just create anything you want. You kind of just let your creative juices flow, and you can just make a program with whatever you want it to do. There's tons of stuff out there, and just like the really interesting part of just like learning a different language. That's the most interesting part, is just being able to communicate with with a computer, which is I think the most interesting part here. is I'm able to write commands that will do X and Y in just in a completely different language that would not make sense to anyone who did not know what I was typing. And it's just that's really the most interesting part. And when you dive down into it, there's all this theory and stuff, which is how the algorithm runs and how you structure it, and it's just the science part. I can go into it for hours, but it's just I'm really that's my favorite part is the science part for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, but yeah, that's about like everything that like I had for us to really talk to on this one. But I do appreciate you guys coming on and stuff. Thank you so much. Possibly have you guys all back someday in the future or something. I already know Brendan's coming back for one. Um, Probably in a few weeks. Hint, hint. But thank you. I really do appreciate having you guys here.
I
Yeah,
appreciate.
And that's about a wrap for today's episode. I hope everybody enjoyed that interview where like talk really about me and my friends' experiences going through and completing our engineering degree and stuff. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting also hearing their viewpoints and stuff so that you can hear from a different people and also see where different people are kind of at in the stage and how we may have experienced it and how we may see things and like the kind of the more in-depth struggles that we probably went through to get our degree. So I hope everybody really liked this episode. Definitely one of the longer ones, but don't feel free to share. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all of that, comment, and let me know what you thought hits are. If you have any questions about or want to know any extra tips on how to get around like your degrees if you're feeling too pressured and all of that kind of stuff. So always feel free to reach out and hope you guys are all good. See you next episode.